So I know in these problems it tells us to draw a triangle, but it's kind of hard to draw an accurate triangle without all the measurements. So when you draw your triangle in here, it's just going to be, I usually just draw some random triangle and then side A, B, C, and fill in the information that they give us. So A is 40 degrees, B, which means side B, is 6, and C, little c, side C is 7. So and then from there, you can find the rest of the missing pieces of your triangle. I like to organize my stuff like this, though. Draw my angles or make like a little table here with all my angles. So A, B, C, and then little a, little b, little c. And then from there, fill in what you know. So we know that angle A is 40. Little a, we don't know. We don't know B or C. We do know side B is 6 and side C is 7. And from here, you can tell that we are not going to be able to use our law of sines because we don't have an angle and its opposite side. So from this table, you can see if you had both pieces of information here, you'd be able to use your law of sines. And also looking over here at the triangle, here's the only angle I have, I would need the opposite side. So for this one, we're going to have to use the law of cosines to start with. So using our law of cosines, since the only angle we have is the angle of 40 degrees, and the formula for your law of cosines only involves one angle, then we're going to need to set it up as A equals, so we're going to start with A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine of angle A, because that's the only angle we have. And then fill in what you know. So we'll be looking for A first. So A squared equals B squared, which is 6 squared, plus 7 squared minus 2 times 6 times 7 times the cosine of 40 degrees. Okay, and just like in the example that we had, you can just punch this all in your calculator, take the square root of that number, and that'll give you the side A. So just give me a second to punch that in. Okay, and make sure your answer makes sense. So our sides here are 6 and 7. When I took the square root of this number that I got when I punched it in my calculator, I ended up with A equals 4.544. So we're going to go 2 decimal places, 4.54. And that definitely makes sense with the other measurements that I'm given here. So that angle is 4.54. So now you can actually switch over to your law of sines because now you do have an angle and its opposite side. So you can look for angle B or angle C, it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to go for angle B. So I'm going to do the sine of B over side B, which is 6, equals the sine of A, which is 40, so sine of 40 degrees, over the side that I just found, which is 4.54. And then you're just going to cross multiply here. 6 times the sine of 40 equals 4.54 times the sine of B. And then you're going to divide both sides by 4.54. So these will cancel, and we have the sine of B equals this right here. So what you want to do is you want to do sine inverse of this whole fraction here, 6 sine of 40. Don't forget to close your parentheses around that when that's in your calculator, divided by 4.54. And that should give you angle B. and you get 58.157. So we're going to go 58.16. So side B, or I'm sorry, angle B is 58.16. And then from there, all you have to do is subtract from 180, because if you know two of the angles, you can just subtract from 180 because there's 180 degrees in a triangle. And you end up with 81.84. Okay, and then you kind of just look this over real quick and make sure your answers make sense. So the smallest side should be across from the smallest angle. So my 4.54 is the smallest and my 40 is the smallest. So that totally makes sense, right? So, and my 7 is my biggest, my 81.84, that's my biggest angle. So that's the solution for number 1.